Hey everyone, it's James from Epilog. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to design a multidimensional sign. We'll be taking a flat graphic and changing it into layers so you can create that cool multidimensional sign look. We'll be going through some tips and tricks I've come up with to help you take your design to that next level. If you'd like to follow along, we have the original graphic down in the description below, so be sure to download that and try this out for yourself. Let's get started. So here we are in our graphic software. We're using Illustrator today, but you could really do these same concepts with any graphic software. We've got our flat graphic here. Now, the first thing we want to do is optimize this graphic, make sure that everything's going to work well in a nice layered sign. So let's take a look at an example piece. So here is the original graphic. And if we take a look at the layers as they're broken out, we can see that every layer has a border around it. So they're all the same shape. So they're going to fit together and have that dimension through the entire piece. All the graphic cutouts basically have, they're strong enough that they're touching two sides of the border. So I know that the pieces aren't going to fall apart. And it's been separated out into 7 layers. And then there's a sun as well. And this one has actually not been made into a layer. And that helped reduce the number of layers by 1, but allows you to just attach it right on top of the blue here. So you've got a nice pop of color. So those are the main considerations. You want to have a border around the entire piece. So every piece is the same size and that each layer is going to be strong enough that they're not going to break when you take it out of the laser. So going back to our graphic, let's use those same concepts here. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the number of layers, and that's going to be determined by the number of colors in my graphic. Now, right now, I've got 3 blues, looks like 3 greens, the white, the brown, and the outer border. So I've got 9 layers right now. Now we're going to be using 3mm MDF to cut this out of, so that's going to be pretty thick. So I'd like to cut that down to about 7 layers. So I want to get rid of 2 of these colors. So looking at this, I don't want to get rid of any of the blues because I do like having 3 colors in the sky and in the water. The greens, now I've got this light green down here that are just these bushes. I think I can just change that into that dark green and still have a nice effect. So I'll use my magic wand tool, select the light greens, and then the eyedropper tool to select the dark green so I can change that in the same color. And that looks good. Now for another color, let's try to get rid of this white. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that and delete it. Yeah, I like how that looks. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to show the sky through the mountains. So you'll just have this silhouette of the brown with the sky showing through. I think that's actually kind of a cool look. I like that. So now let's take a look at, will each of our graphics spread far enough across the page? So I can see my trees come all the way across, and so do my mountains. This bush here might be an issue. It's sitting out by itself, so that's an easy fix. I'll just go ahead and drag that over here so it's touching the border. The trees over here might be an issue in that they're pretty small, so I see that as a possible break point when I'm cutting this out. So I'm just going to come in here and increase the size of my trees a little bit. So that should be stronger there. Now this looks like another break piece, definitely. So I'm just going to strengthen that up a little bit by doing my direct selection tool so I can select the nodes. And I'll just increase the width of these lines just a little bit. Do that over here too. That looks good. Now, the final thing I want to do here is I like that pop of color the sun added in the other graphic. So I'm going to go ahead and import in a sun. There's quite a bit of blue space up here where a sun would fit in. That's actually kind of a cool effect in that you get that almost an eye, it looks like the eye of the bear. I like that. So I just want to get rid of these sections that are outside the border. So I'll select my border, copy that. I'll paste that in place. So now I can just select that border and the sun. I'll go to my pathfinder. I'm going to do minus front. So now I've got just that sun there. I can ungroup that and get rid of these outer areas. Okay, that looks good. I think we're ready to separate out our layers. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll copy that whole graphic over onto a new page, just so we've got that original one that we could refer back to in case we mess anything up. Now if I come into my layers tab, I can see currently everything is in one flat layer. I want to change this so that each layer is its own color. So we're going to build from the top down. So let's go ahead and we'll add a new layer. I know my first layer is going to be this border. So I'll go ahead and name that border. I'm going to select my border, cut it, then move into my border layer and paste that into place on there. So now that's going to be on its own layer here. Next. So the next color I want to do is, it looks like this dark green is located over the mountains and over the paths, and it should be the next layer. So let's go ahead, create a new layer, name that dark green. Using my magic wand tool, select all the dark greens. I'm going to cut that and paste that in place on that layer. So the mountains look like that would be a nice choice next. So we'll do that one as a new layer. Dark brown. Select all the dark browns, cut it, and paste it in place. And I'll move that below my dark green layer. Okay. So that looks good. I can still see all my graphics. Nothing's covering anything up that it shouldn't be. So behind the path and the mountain, I've got that light green there. So let's go ahead and try that one next. So I'll select all that. And I can immediately see an issue here. It's going above all of my river and everything. So I'd have to, if I wanted this to be the next layer, I'd have to make quite a few changes to the graphic. So don't want to do that. So I'm going to undo that. And instead we'll do our blues. So it makes most sense to go from the center of the river out. So we'll do light blue, dark blue, and the medium blue. So let's go ahead and run through all those. Now my final layer is going to be that light green. So now we've separated all those out. I can take a look at the graphic and see if I see any other issues. Right here I see one, the path has gone over the river. So let's go ahead and select that outer section of the river. I'm going to copy that, go to my dark brown layer, paste that in place. So now I can grab my brown and that top blue, go to my pathfinder, and I'm going to do minus front. So now it's cut off right there, so it won't be behind the blue, but I can see that that's going to be a pretty thin connection right there. So I'm just going to come in and widen that up a little bit. Add an anchor point, and I'll widen up that path a little bit. Now I'm just going to grab a few of these trees and pull them down a little over the path. Give it a little more dimension. Okay, final thing I need to do is put that sun on its own layer. And right now it's hidden behind that dark blue. So I'm just going to turn off the visibility of the dark blue layer. Got my sun there, so I'll create another layer at the top. Call that sun. And I'll just paste that into that layer. Now I can turn back on my dark blue. Now that looks great. It looks like everything is about where I want it. I'm just going to move this one down a little bit. So we're ready to actually separate this out into their layers of the color, but also with a border. So I'm going to go ahead and create another layer, and I will call this just layers. Down here I can see that I've got layer 1 still. Now that's got a bunch of just different paths in it that are not needed anymore. They were just additional paths that were used when it was first drawn. So if I turn that off, I don't see any difference. That's good. So I'll just delete that layer. Okay, so as we create these layers, what I'm going to do is actually build it from the top down. So my first, or from the bottom up actually. So my first layer is going to be that light green. So I'll use my magic wand tool, select the light greens, and then also select that border. I'm going to copy that and paste it. Now for your first layer, this is going to be handled a little differently than the other ones. We're not going to cut out this area that's light green. Instead, we want the whole solid piece to be light green. So all I need to do, select my border, right click, I'll release that compound path. So I've got just that outer edge. Now I can select the whole thing, go to Pathfinder, Unite. So I've only got one cut. And I'll select my eyedropper and turn that whole piece green. Okay, so that's layer 1. And I'm going to actually paste that into my layers, just so I can keep those separate. Next up is medium blue. So magic wand tool, touch the medium blue, and then also select the border. Copy that and paste it. Now this is really easy because basically what we want to do is we want to cut around these areas so that they stay the same color as we choose. So we'll just go into Pathfinder, Unite, and touch that medium blue, change the color of that. So now if I place that, I put that into the Layers tab, so it's at the very top, put it on top, I can see where the light greens are going to show through. And so I want to come over here and take a look at the light greens. And right now, all those sections show. So that's the most important thing there. Select the dark blue next. and the border. Copy that and paste it. And then I'll unite that. So now I can see an issue. See these little blue lines here? Those are actually going to be an extra path that was in there that we don't want. So this is a great time to find any mistakes in your artwork that you need to clean up. So I'll just do my direct selection tool, select along that line and get rid of that. Just so we don't have any additional cut lines in our artwork. Then down here, do the same thing. Now we're ready to change the color of that. We'll go ahead and put that into our layers and put it on top. Once again, we're just checking to see that the color that's on top is showing as well as everywhere we've got the colors underneath. So we haven't covered up anything that we shouldn't. That's good. We'll continue this with the remaining layers. Okay, that looks good. So now all we are going to do is just separate these out into their separate layers. And that looks great. So I can see that I've got each of these layers now actually separated out, and when we cut them and put them together, they should fit together perfectly. So next we'll go ahead and add some double stick tape to the back of 6 of the pieces. We don't need double stick tape on the back of the bottom layer, and then we'll be ready to send everything over to the laser. Next, we'll apply some double stick tape to the back of all the boards except the bottom layer. So now we're ready to send everything over to the laser. So I'm just going to select all of my layers, and I'm going to give that a red stroke. So that's going to put a line around each one so that the laser will know that I want to cut it. I'll move my sample graphic off the page, put my first layer on. Now I can just print that. And I can see that it looks good on the page. I've chosen my Epilog engraver, so I'll hit print. So now I'm going to just change this from engrave to vector, so I cut it out, and I can see my outline here. And I can just import my settings. So I'm going to choose 3mm wood. And we're running this on an 80-watt Fusion Edge 24. So right now it's set to 30% speed, 100% power, 10% frequency. Now I know that I'm going to have some double stick tape on the back of most of these layers. So I'm just going to slow this down a little bit just to make sure we get through that well. So I'll change it to 20%. And then I'm going to name the layer as well, layer 1, just so I can keep track of it when it's over at the laser. And hit print. And we'll go ahead and continue to send all of these layers over. So I'll go into my settings, dashboard. I'm going to change new job settings to previous settings. And that's just going to keep the same settings for every layer that I send over. So I'll go ahead and go quickly through and just send over all my different layers.
So now you can see one of my favorite features is I've got all the different layers all lined up here. So if I wanted to rerun the job, that'd be very easy to do. So I'll send over the first layer and hit go.
Now that we've cut out of all of our layers, we're ready for spray paint. So we're actually going to use this MTN 94. It's my favorite for especially on MDF because it gives a really nice flat color to it, but in one single pass works really well. So we picked out colors based on the colors that we actually colored our layers here. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So now from that original piece of flat artwork, we have a really stunning three-dimensional sign. Now I'm really excited how this came out. The colors just pop against each other and the multiple layers just add such a nice dimension to the sign. So you can use these same techniques in your own signage design. And if you do, be sure to share your ideas with us because we'd love to see what you come up with. I hope you found all these techniques helpful today. So be sure to subscribe to our channel so that you find out when the latest videos are coming out. If you'd like to find out more about Epilog Laser, be sure to click the link below. Thanks and have a great day.